All right. People are talking about the big pivot that organizations and leaders need to make. Investors are suggesting they're not going to invest in large corporations if they don't create a higher social purpose, if they don't create meaningful value for society at large. 200 CEOs in the United States are reviewing the purpose of the corporation to include that all people deserve an economy and organizations that honor meaning, their life, and their dignity. It all seems like, yes, this is so trivial. The four-drive theory can possibly explain exactly why this is happening, why we need to pivot and how we need to pivot, etc., etc. The question that is critical, though, is why, if it's so trivial, if the investors say it, employees want it, society needs it, why are we not making more progress more quickly? This is what I call the challenge of Homo economicus. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't heard of Homo economicus before, yet you probably are familiar with the idea that dominates much of economics, much of society, much of management. And it's a dominant view of what humans have in common. It's a universal model of who we are as people. Our brain is phenomenal. It is what allowed us to survive. Yet it is fundamentally limited too. We can't process all the information that is around us. So E.O. Wilson, the famous biologist, says we are narrative animals. We need stories. We need images and metaphors. We are narrative animals and we operate on background narratives that are not obvious to us, but they determine the metaphors, the images, and the experience that we live. Scrooge McDuck is a famous cartoon character. It's a narrative and it's a highlight of a person that wants to make more money and that is excited to make more money. It's the story of the social sciences. It's the story of economics. It's the theory of economics that we assume, at least in a marketplace, that we all want to benefit. And when we benefit, it means we pay less or we gain more. Economists use the term utility. Utility actually derives from well-being. And at the time, 200 years ago, when this economic theory was developed, it was pretty clear that with more material wealth, you would also gain more overall well-being. So there was a shortcut made in economics theory suggesting if we model human beings as those that care about money or material wealth, we're going to get at the larger well-being question. If people are wealthier, they will also be happier. Yet that narrative has a flaw and is obviously not fully accurate. It's simplistic. And that's why we're facing these many problems. And the humanistic story about Homo sapiens may be helpful in understanding why. Now, well, we'll hear a lot more about this humanistic perspective later. Why is the economistic narrative that we care about money, that we are rational, that we are fully informed, that we're utility maximizing, that we're self-interested, amoral, and opportunistic with guile? Why is that so sticky? It is sticky because it's simple and because it is in some way true, partially true. We all are sometimes rational, We all are sometimes behaving in self-interested ways. And sometimes we're also behaving in a way that is opportunistic, possibly. But are we always behaving that way? Most likely not. We wouldn't be here as a species if we were. A species of egoists, of fully informed maximizers, rational maximizers, would work itself towards extinction, much like Homo habilis has been extinct. If we were like that, why would we need to work in teams? Why are we caring about all these social issues? The fundamental assumption of Homo economicus is that we are asocial. We don't care about anybody but ourselves. It's a simple assumption. It's a workable assumption, especially in the context of markets, but it doesn't apply in the context of larger society. It doesn't apply in the context of the larger planetary issue. It doesn't apply in the terms of survival. And if you think that we are facing predicaments in terms of our species' survival, then this economistic narrative can be dangerous. Because these large problems can only be solved in collaboration, in full sociality, in teams, in organizations.